Okay.
So we're live.
We're live.
We're getting there
Right.
in about 5 seconds.
Well, it says up there that we're live.
There we go, yeah. I was just waiting for the screen to show.
Okay.
We're live.
All
We're
right.
live.
Okay, it's 5 o'clock and we have quorum, so I will call the meeting to order. For the record, those of us that are attending by Zoom, please raise your hand if you have someone in the room other than yourself. Seeing no hands, the record should state that all Zoom attendees are by themselves. And I also would like to say that we received no written or oral testimony for tonight's meeting. So I will move to approval of the minutes of the June 2nd, 2026 meeting. Are there any changes or corrections? Seeing that there's no hands, can I get a motion to approve the minutes as submitted?
I'll move to approve the minutes of the June 2nd meeting.
Okay, can I get a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Kihao, second. All in favor, say aye or raise your hand. Aye. So minutes unanimously approved. We will move now to Kahuku report.
Thank you, everybody, and thank you, Roberta. Kahukumana met last week. I just have a verbal report. The main topic that we reviewed with them was the update on the underground storage tank removal project, which we updated you folks on previously or earlier. They were appreciative of the update. They had no additional feedback for us to incorporate into the site plan approval that we are preparing to submit. So that was the main thing that we covered with Kahukumana. The other thing, other items had to do with various updates on some of the programmatic activities we are involved in. In particular, the one I would highlight for Maunakea Management Board is, and we'll have Kaleo come in and do an update in one of the next couple of meetings, is Kaleo's been really working hard at developing relationships with some of our community-based Native Hawaiian practitioner groups. And one of the relationships that he is working on developing is with Nakalai Va'a out of Waimea. So Nakalai Va'a is interested, if you know anything about their history, you know that they have a history of their very first Va'a that they built. They carved it using traditional methods, adze tools, and they did it by hand. And they have an interest in reviving the practice and training of practitioners in adze making. So the adze quarry, as you know, is not at the summit, but it's on the way up to the summit. It is not on UH managed land. It's on DLNR land. But it is a site that lots of people hike out to go and see. And so they had requested a guided tour by Kaleo. So he took them out a couple of weekends ago. It was a whole group of about a dozen of navigators and sailors from Nakalai Va'a. And the purpose was to just scope out the adze quarry. Many of them had not been there before. this was all coordinated and arranged and approved by DLNR. Because it was a larger group, it required a DLNR permit or approval. So Kaleo worked with the folks from the Natural Area Reserves program to set that up. And so, and some of our staff went out as well as one of our rangers accompanied them just for safety purposes. But the real gem of the story here is there does seem to be a developing interest by Nakalaiwa to work with us in looking at how we could collaborate on building a program that supports training of folks who are either interested in making the stone tools and or actually, using them to carve different things. So it's kind of an exciting opportunity that he's developing, and we're hoping to nurture that and build it forward. Kind of along with that, we were able, Kaleo's program has really started to grow. And so we were able to piece together some funding to recruit and bring on a helper for him, who just so happens to be in our heritage management program with a background in geology, and was quite interested in doing further studies on the composition of the stone, the various stones and the various flows that comprise Maunakea. So she's working with Kaleo now. She's finishing up her pipes internship actually, and then she's going to be joining us more full-time. She'll be assisting Kaleo with a lot of the logistics of coordinating these outreach activities that he's been doing on his own. But she's also interested in we're wanting to support her to begin doing some training at the visitor information station and with our staff about the work that she has done and the work that she's doing, about the geology of the mountain. And that kind of fits nicely with also this relationship that he's developing with Nakalaiwa. So we're excited about sort of some of the directions that he's taking the program, all consistent with the priorities that Nahua and I have asked him to, and the framework that we've asked him to work under. And it's that kind of relationship building that we have chosen to emphasize in our outreach and community engagement. It's really looking for opportunities to work with, whether it's a community group, a faculty member at the university, or in the high schools, who have programs and they see needs of their children, of their students, and they have they want to try to reach them in some different ways, or they're wanting to teach some different things in some different ways. That when we identify these shared overlaps of interests, let's build on those and kind of develop the relationships that way. And we're really excited about the possibilities of where this relationship with Nakalaiwa could go. But we'll have Kaleo come in and do an update on his education and outreach activities that he's been involved in over the last year. It's quite exciting. So those are the two things that we focused on with Kahukumana. And Kahukumana is very interested in that outreach work in particular. So they like to understand what's happening there, particularly when we're reaching out and engaging with practitioners. So there were no recommendations that came from them on this next stage of the underground storage tank. And the other thing we covered was mostly Kaleo's work. Any questions? Mike.
Right. Are there other significant sites that exist on DLNR land up on Maunakea?
There are, excuse me, the historic trails themselves are mostly on DLNR land. At certain points, they cross our UH managed lands. But yes, the trails. And then there is actually, if you remember the map of our managed land, and there's that pie shape cutout.
Yeah.
Well, ads quarry is in that pie shape cutout, but there are actually ad sites scattered across the landscape. And so there's some of those, wouldn't call them quarries, but ads making sites on our lands as well. So you have a number of these sites kind of just scattered all over on DLNR lands and our lands. But yeah, we and of course Lake Waiau is there on their property.
I just look at it as being an opportunity for the state to be actively
Absolutely.
involved.
Absolutely. And you know, DLNR is happy to work with us on these kinds of things because they don't have the resources or the staffing to do some of this stuff. And yet, you know, but we have a charge to do community engagement and outreach and education. So if we can work together, it just broadens the possibilities. Great. Any other questions?
Oh, I have a quick question, Greg. So the woman that is helping Kaleo, that's a geologist, did she graduate from UH Hilo Geology Department?
She's finishing or she finished?
She finished.
She finished. She finished.
That's great. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and
They-
that's another part of the story, you know, is
Yeah.
having our
All the
own graduates come
connections.
and work with us, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, very
Absolutely.
important.
Yeah.
Okay, can move on to executive director's report.
Okay. By the way, Chair, we should probably note that Julie joined us. Hi, Julie.
Yes, hi, Julie.
Just for the record. Yeah, I do have a few items to update the board on. Again, we don't have any action items for the board tonight. But I do want to update the board on some of the work that's we are engaged in regarding the transfer of the master lease to MKSOA. A quick update on where we are at with the UH master plan amendment. Once again, both of those issues at some point in time and in some form will come back to this board for review and recommendation. Quick update on where MKSOA is at in their RFP for an EIS and their administrative rules, and then an OSTP update, that's the cost sharing agreement. Okay, so on the master lease transfer, you folks have seen variations of this slide in the past. As you know, as a result of this legislative session, Act 53 was signed into law by the governor. And it did several things listed here, extending the transition date, including some milestones for MKSOA to achieve, otherwise management reverts back to UH. Clarifying that our plans and rules remain in effect until they're replaced by theirs. Clarifying that their title or property interest in the property shall be nothing more than what the university has. Then there's this authorization now for them to extend subleases for up to 10 years with an exemption from Chapter 343. And of course, the CDP issue, which they confirmed, does run with the property interest. As a result of that highlighted bullet, their newfound authority to extend leases, as I've discussed with you folks in the past, we've been looking at, okay, what do we need to do to facilitate or ensure that MKSOA is able to exercise and meet the benchmarks and exercise their authorities under Act 53. And one of the things that we've identified is the need for us to pursue assignment of our master lease for the science reserve only, not for Halepohaku, to MKSOA. And so on June 15th, a letter was sent, signed by President Hensel, Chancellor Sirmos, and Chancellor Irwin, to MKSOA Chair Komeiji and Executive Director DeFries, regarding notifying them of our intent to begin that process for assigning and transferring the master lease to them. We expect that there's going to be a number of challenges with that. And so we are working with OGC, Erica, and others on trying to understand the process that we need to follow in order to do that. And of course, as I said earlier, once we understand the actions that we will take, we'll come back to this body to get your recommendations as well. So that's the reason why, the primary reason why we're doing this, okay? However, as you folks know, there's this thing that MKSOA set up, which is this long-term transition working group. That we've been working on developing. Essentially, the deliverable is to develop a master transition plan. And the language on the right, I won't read it to you, but that's a language from the documentation that served as the basis when for MKSOA when they approved the formation of this long-term working group. And it's chaired by former Regent Ben Kudo. So we know we've been working at this for a long time. This is kind of a snapshot of where we are in the whole process. We had to put together this inventory. That took a bunch of time. And then we went back and forth to make sure it was complete with the MKSOA consultants. And then they took that inventory and they reviewed it and they analyzed it for the fiscal management and legal implications. And for each item or classification category of items came up with some recommendations on what actions need to be taken to transfer these things. They put that into the form of a draft transfer plan. That's been going back and forth between the consultants and the working group. And we were notified last week that the fourth draft is due this week, Friday. So that draft transfer plan is still not complete. But we've been going through their recommendations and pointing out where we think things can be streamlined, as well as where we think there are going to be challenges in how they've recommended transferring certain assets and obligations. The last stage is for the working group to monitor and facilitate the implementation of the transfer plan, which they acknowledge, with the consultants acknowledge, may take up to 2 years itself, just the implementation, because of the complexity of some of these things. The July 1st deadline was a deadline that they were working under originally, but that now has been extended to December 2029. So we also have a set of issues that have emerged, and this is just a sampling of them, of what I would call unresolved issues. That we know are going to take some, both parties are going to have to roll up their sleeves and really have some hard discussions about how these assets and obligations get transferred or assigned. One of these is the process of transferring the master lease itself. There's some differing opinions by the AG and us and MKSOA about what needs to occur to actually transfer the master lease and the attendant subleases. There's an issue around who should own, operate, and maintain the Mauna Kea communications network that the university has developed over the years, and we manage and maintain. The MKOs all help to pay for its maintenance, but it is something that was developed through university resources and university grants. There is a discussion still to be had about the future uses of Halepohaku as a multidisciplinary research and education field station. This was our vision for Halepohaku in our master plan. And we feel that the university, being an education and research institution, has the requisite competencies to be able to program and operate such a facility. But we don't know where MKSOA finds itself, or positions that they're taking when it comes to educational work and the educational programming aspect of what we do. And then there's a broader question that has emerged in the development of the transfer plan, that the consultants themselves acknowledge, depending on how you want to read things, interpret things, that some of the activities provided by our Mauna Kea Shared Services Group, specifically food and lodging, utilities, and the visitor information station, how does it fit within MKSOA's statutory responsibility as land stewards? A strict reading of Act 255 would suggest that the responsibilities they're taking over from UH are as land stewards, not necessarily as educational, for the educational and research support. So these things all overlap, and obviously there's going to be, and they impact whether leases should get transferred or remain in UH's name, or facilities or infrastructure should be transferred or stay in UH's name, etc. And some of these issues are going to require authorization and decision-making by not just MKSOA and the working group, but actually by the Board of Regents, by the MKSOA board themselves, and in some cases may even need to involve the land board, the Board of Land and Natural Resources, depending on what we're talking about. So as a result of kind of looking forward on how we are going to be working through some of these things, okay, as a result of looking forward and how we're going to resolve some of these things, we have some ideas. But before I go on any further, because there's a few more points I want to make before laying out what we're proposing, I want to stop here and just get some thoughts on or questions from the group. Remember, some of these things are going to come to us at some point. Maybe not the whole thing, maybe not everything, but some of these are going to come to us for our recommendation as well.
So I know this is not actual, well, I think it has a side implication, but my question, Greg, is, so now that Wayne is no longer the regent, from Hawaii Island that's serving along with Mike Miyahira, has the board announced who is going to take Wayne's place yet?
Not yet. I'm hoping that, not yet. I'm hoping that we'll find out within the coming week.
Do you think it's going to be the second Hawaii Island board member?
That's a distinct possibility since Mackay Freitas also serves on the DHHL board.
Okay. Well, I only bring this up because maybe on it, it's more of a bigger picture and I've been thinking about it just because of the amount of time that I had spent with Barry, years and years on the whole Mauna Kea matter. I beg your pardon?
No, I just cleared my throat.
Oh, okay. It's very important at the time and Maunakea Management Board was even formed that Hawaii Island representatives serve as the main connection between the border regions and Mauna Management Board and the community. So I know it brings in another person that, maybe doesn't have as much history, but I think from an optics standpoint, it's really important that, we don't lose that connection because it was a big issue when this whole Mauna Kea situation came up and how Mauna Kea was going to be managed. So, and looking at, the transfer of the lease and there's some really big issues that are going to need to be addressed. I think it would be helpful to, make sure that the Hawaii Island rep take Wayne's place.
Yeah, Mackay and I had an initial conversation, but he acknowledges that he needs to really learn more about where we are at the current time. Greg, you know Mackay?
Yes, I do. And then Dr. Bergen, you know Mackay as well, right?
Oh, yeah, wonderful choice.
Yeah. I've heard the same, and I agree with Dr. Billy that I think he could be a plus if he were to participate on MKMB as the second UH regent.
It would only make sense.
So
I'd just like to add a little bit. I first joined Maunakea Management Board in 2013. And at the time, I was on the faculty at UH. I was not in this role. And at the time, Barry had already completed his first tenure as chair. So we had a different chair. But I remember that, during the discussions and decision-making and recommendations that we had to develop around any of a number of projects, including TMT, but not just TMT. It was very, very helpful that all of us had a connection to the island, and had a feel for the various communities that we were part of. As we know, Hawaii Island is just geographically large, and the communities are distinct from each other. Not every community feels the same way about things. And so it was really important. It has been really important for us to have that strong sense of place, if you will, represented on this board. So I would actually agree with and support what Berta is saying, that I think whoever fills Wayne's seat, I think it should be Hawaii Island Regent, personally. I know Barry fought long and hard for that. I know he fought long and hard for that.
And the rest of the UH board didn't necessarily agree with him. So, you know, I think he brought an important perspective that, really helped make the situation better. He was also perceived because he was from the island with more credibility than I think a non-White Island person was looked at. Yeah.
I was just gonna say, I don't know if it would be inappropriate for you, Roberta, as chair of this board, to reach out to Chair Akitake and express that. I mean, we don't know that Makai necessarily wants it or not, but I think, I mean, that's where all this started, right? Was Barry, as part of Maunakea Management Board, reaching out to the regents. So I think if the group feels strongly about that, expressing that opinion to the regents is not a bad thing.
I have a question about Halipuhaku. So Greg, how much, as far as supporting the astronomy centers, how key of a role is Halipuhaku in that factor as a multidisciplinary research center? And second, if it's significant in this situation, I guess I'm wondering about the statute that astronomy part of Hawaii economy. How does that play into this developing role that we're trying to figure out between us and MKSOA?
I get there's two answers to your first question. One is that currently it is oversized for the operational support that this observatories need. And that's primarily because most of them have gone to remote operations. And secondly, most of them, are not conducting big construction projects. So when Halipuhaku was built, it wasn't just to support the operations of the observatories, but also the construction of the observatories. So that's one thing. Having said that, Halipuhaku is critical to the ongoing daily operations in particular. The observatory's day staffs are regular users of Halipuhaku prior to going up to the summit to do whatever they do at their respective facilities. They rely heavily on our utilities crew, obviously, for road maintenance and snow clearing and things like that, but also our folks help them with small repair and maintenance kinds of projects that are required. And actually our food and lodging staff provide cleaning services. All of this is for a fee, but they provide a range of services to the observatories themselves. And then, of course, the Ranger program provides a quote unquote a security element and safety planning element that ensures coordination between and among all of the observatories. So as an example, through their shared contributions, there's an emergency vehicle that was purchased and is stationed at the summit. And it's used in the event of any kind of emergency for astronomy personnel as well as the public. And that was something they felt they needed and wanted. Our utilities group ensures that the vehicle is maintained. It is specially equipped with special equipment. So our safety rangers have to make sure the equipment is all maintained, supplies are freshened, and all of that sort of thing. So in terms of, overnight usage and whether they need to use it to operate their telescopes or whatnot, that need has certainly dwindled over the years. But in terms of supporting their support operations, it's critical. Because it's not just the building, it's everything that comes with
Yeah.
with the building.
I mean, all of these are really, really big issues, so a lot of long-term, long-range conversations here.
Yeah, yeah. If I could ask then, building off of Bonnie's suggestion, Roberta, is that something that you'd be willing to do, or?
Yes, yes. And I, because I think it's really important that that message continue. And I know how important it was because of the years that I've served on Mauna Kea issues. I'm curious, Dr. Billy, what your thoughts are, because I think you've also served, as a regent for part of the time. And I don't know if you agree with my comments.
I absolutely do agree with your comments, and I think it's inappropriate that you would extend the comfort level of the MKMB with the selection of Makai
Okay.
to the thing. It comes with special qualifications.
Thank you.
I can't think of, Robert, I can't think of anyone that are suited to attend or be part of this board at Makai. So I think it's entirely appropriate to ask if he could be assigned.
Okay. I'm happy to do that. I don't know if it's better in a verbal conversation, Bonnie, or do you think I need to put something in writing? What do you think is most appropriate?
I don't really have a strong opinion one way or the other.
Both?
It might be more convenient if you just emailed her, Roberta,
Yeah,
because she has a full-time job, and so she can pick up the email whenever she can.
yeah, so if you reach out to Yvonne Lau, who's the board secretary, she can make sure that whatever you send is delivered to Regent Akitake.
Okay. So, Greg, can you get me Yvonne's information?
Yes.
Okay, I will do that. Because
Any
I
other
think
questions? Oh, go ahead.
No, I just last comment. I think we're going to be getting into some really important and maybe more difficult issues, but I feel that visually by having he and Mike serve to support MKMB will be better received by the community.
So, just to refresh my memory, Mike, when does your term end?
2028.
Okay.
Just when everything gets interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I've already told them that I'm an old guy, so I'm not interested in re-upping. In fact, I doubt that Senate would approve of my re-up.
Don't cut yourself out. So.
Oh, no, I'm pretty sure that they would not renew.
All right, so we got to work you hard in the next 2 years.
Yeah.
Any other questions on the lease transfer? There are a couple other items I want to go over real quick. Okay. So, I know that one of the things that we have been wondering about is, when is MKSOA going to get around to at least beginning a conversation with the observatories about leases? If you happened to see the article in this morning's Tribune Herald, where Bonnie was quoted extensively, you know that extending the leases and or getting new leases is a high priority, not just for the university, but for the observatories, obviously. It's taken a while, but 2 weeks ago at a directors meeting, the MKSOA team did a short overview of some of the questions and things that they need to understand from the MKOs, to understand what's actually going to be involved in beginning negotiations on leases. And once again, that's whether it's an extension of a lease or a new lease. So they actually issued this list of questions to the directors, asking for their responses by the end of this month. This is all just to begin to educate themselves on how long and how involved a process this will be once MKSOA is ready to embark on that process. As you know, Chair Komeiji has stated that he doesn't believe extensions are going to be necessary, that they'll be able to negotiate new leases prior to the transition, and certainly prior to the end of the master lease. However, there's no certainty in that, and so we, along with the observatories, have been asking and suggesting and recommending that those discussions start sooner than later. And last year we brought Doug Simons in, and Doug did his presentation on the lease process. So these are the questions that they've sent. So at least the beginning steps of them collecting information from the observatories has begun, and that's a positive thing. Any questions on that?
Greg, are these questions also being posed to legal, the DLNR?
It went to the directors. We have sent them, they went to Doug and David over at IFA, so they sent it to, I know Erica and OGC are looking at it from UH's perspective. I don't know if it's gone to the AGs, but we're gonna presume that each of the observatories, because they all have different funders, are gonna take it to their legal counsels as well. But just to let you know that at least the conversation is starting, as preliminary as it may be. Any other questions on this? And this actually relates, the reason why I included it here is it actually relates to the transfer of the master lease. Because one of the things that we have to be mindful of is what are our long-term interests if we're going to start transferring things now? Are there rights that we will want to retain, or interests that we won't want to especially protect because of who we are and the unique things that university is able to do that the observatories rely on us for, like the communications network.
Yeah.
That MKSOA can't do.
Yeah, I think the communications network is a really big item.
Yes, it is. It is. So there's that. And then to help sort of address some of this stuff, there is a proposal in the making a recommendation to be taken up by the Board of Regents to form another permitted interaction group. This is just the draft language of what we would suggest their charter be. Whether the Regents form this group or not, we're not sure. They'll take it up next week at their regular board meeting. But the purpose here is to begin preparing the Regents for some of the decisions that will be eventually coming before them, as well as getting Regent input earlier and soon on some of these major issues. So that's in the works as well. So you might be hearing we'll be discussing some of that work in future meetings. Okay, and then the last thing I had was, or last two things, master plan amendment. Essentially, tomorrow we have a meeting with OGC and our consultants. We have a third draft that we're reviewing. I'm hoping that we're getting close and that it'll be ready for taking out to our advisory groups and community groups that we want to get their input on sooner than later. So that work is moving along. Again, that would be another piece of work that will come before this body as well. And then real quickly on the cost sharing, I've shown this to you before. This is the budget that was agreed to, 2 items, and what the allocations were going to be used for. The 2 items circled in red is what we initially invoiced for, and subsequently we've now invoiced for another $850,000 or so for the Ranger program and deferred maintenance activities. So we are waiting processing of those invoices. We're told that all of that is going through and that we can expect to receive those payments in either August or September. So I'll keep you folks apprised of where we are at with our finances as things develop. But this is a very big injection of support, financial support, that's going to help operations tremendously. I really appreciate the advocacy by Executive Director DeFries. Okay, any questions on anything?
Are you expecting any pushback from MK Solar on the funds requested?
No.
Okay.
No. The processing is, they've encumbered the monies. They've approved the invoices. The invoices are being processed by DLNR now. So we don't expect any pushback.
Okay. Any questions? Okay, any other agenda items that we need to cover?
Not
Great.
on the agenda. No, I don't have
Okay.
anything.
Okay. Well, the next item is executive session. So would
So
you like
I'd
to?
like to make a motion, if we could go into executive session, Chair, to discuss role and liabilities of Maunakea Management Board as it relates to the transition process that we're going through with MK Solar.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Julie. All in favor, say aye or raise your hands.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, unanimous. So we will now move into executive session and return later later in the meeting. Okay, thank you. I'll see you in executive session.
I'm transferring to executive session. I think it's going okay.
Oh, it's already in.
Could you tell Pat, check in with me?
Oh, wait. Oh. There, it was Mary Beth. She asked you to leave the first one. And
Yeah.
then go into your executive one.
Okay.
Take a candle with the umbrella.
Oh.
I don't mind getting wet, I'm all in it.
I hope you park in the front.
Part of it there. Okay.
No.
I like this.
I'm kind of like you. All right.
And we go back.
Okay. I think we have everyone, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I will call the Maunakea Management Board public meeting back to order. It is now 6:28. And Greg, if you could summarize the executive session, I would appreciate it. Oh, and sorry, before we move on, all of those attending by Zoom, raise your hand if you have someone else in the room. Seeing none, please have the record state that attendees by Zoom were by themselves. And now, Greg, if you could do a summary of executive session, thank you.
Sure. Sure. So during the executive session, the board had a chance to consult with our attorney, about, our privileges and obligations and duties and liabilities, as it relates to, the transition, the transition between the University of Hawaii and Maunakea Stewardship and Oversight Authority. There were no, during the executive session, there was no decision making that occurred. There were no recommendations that were made. There were no actions taken as a result of our conversations.
Thank you. So we move now to announcements. Any announcements? Greg, anything you want to say?
No.
No?
No.
Okay. Well, the next public meeting will be held on Tuesday, August 4th at 5 p.m. And I don't have anything else, so I am going to now adjourn the meeting. It is 6:30, and thank you everyone for attending. I appreciate the time and energy, and have a good rest of the evening. Aloha.
Hello, everybody.